Can you able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is on my screen? Hello.
Chapter 1, sir.
So what is chapter 1?
Ethics, Court of Ethics.
Okay. Shall we start it? Shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So good afternoon. We are discussing chapter number 1, and in this chapter number 1, in the last lecture we looked at some of the aspect with regard to this social and professional issues in IT, and today also we are going to discuss some of the remaining aspect in this social and professional society that comes under this chapter number 1. In today's session title is Ethics, Court of Ethics, Unethical Behaviors, and Key Technology Trend that Rise Ethical Issues. So this is the title for today's session. Okay, our session is going to cover the following areas. First, we are going to discuss about what is ethics. What do you mean by this ethics? And next we will discuss about court of ethics. And after that we will discuss about workplace ethics and example of example of ethical and unethical behaviors in the workplace. And after that we will discuss about key technology trend that rise ethical issues. And at the end we will discuss about ethical issues in information technologies. So this is the session outline for today's session. Okay, so first we will move into this ethics. What is ethics? So any idea about this ethics? Any idea about this ethics? What is ethics? Ethics mean what? Any idea about this ethics?
It is a system of moral principles.
So it is a system of moral principles. Okay. It is a system of moral principles. Okay, great. Any other idea?
Some procedures to how to behave.
Exactly, great. Some of the procedures to behave, how to behave, exactly.
It is considered what is good for society and individuals.
Exactly, it is considered what is good for individual as well as society. Great. Any other idea? Any other idea?
Cultural theory.
Some cultural theories. Any other idea? Great. Okay. as you all mentioned is correct. Some of you mentioned some of the ideas for this ethics. Basically, ethics mean what are goods and what are wrongs, or what is right or what is wrong, some of the acceptable things or some of the unacceptable things for the individual as well as the society. And this ethics can be some of the principles, commonly acceptable principle in the society, for even for some individuals, some of the acceptable behaviors, some of the acceptable attitudes are called individuals ethics. In the society also, there are people and there are different individuals in the society. Sometime in the society, various ethnic groups may be there, and each and every ethnic groups may have their own religions, culture, their morals, their values, their beliefs. So each and every ethnic community have their own religions, own faith, own culture, own attitudes, or they may have various kind of beliefs. So ethics is acceptable things, what are acceptable things and what are unacceptable things. And we may say these are set of morals, moral principles. Ethics are set of moral principle, acceptable principle in the society. When we take this law, we cannot enforce or we cannot control all the aspect in the society by using the law, but there are things, there are matters which can be controlled by this ethics, some behaviors, some good manners, some attitudes. These are some of the ethics in the society. Okay. Ethics mean principle of right and wrong, principles of rights and wrongs. What are the right things? What are the wrong things? Ethics is a set of moral principles. Ethics is a set of moral principles. So it's a kind of principles. Ethics is not religion, but religion include ethical principles. Ethics is not equal to religion. Religion is something different. So people belongs to particular religions, but in the religion, inside the religion, there are some ethical principles. Okay, say for example, in the religion, the religions, they may have some sort of principles or some beliefs which can control the religion people. It can promote the particular religion people. It can limit the behavior of that particular people. It can avoid the people who belongs to that particular some of the behaviors. It can avoid some of the behaviors for the people, those who belongs to one particular religion. Okay. Ethical principles are not universal because it can vary for different culture. It is not common for all over the world. Ethics are not common for all over the world because the religions or the community, those who are living in the universe or those who are living in the global place or world, they may have different beliefs, they may have different practices, or they may have different principles based on their social setup, social setting or a social setup. Their culture is different, their language is different, their attitude is different, their climate is different, their the government's rules and regulations are different, their beliefs, their faith are different. So ethics are not equal for each and everywhere, not equal for the all over the world. It can be vary. The ethics vary in different cultures. Ethics can be differ based on the culture. Based on the culture. It can vary even in different individuals in the same culture. At the same time, within the same culture, the ethics can be different for individuals. So, you know, for a social setup, or in the society, there are various communities or ethical groups, and they may have the same culture. The particular ethical group may have same culture, and in the ethical community, for a particular ethical community, there are different individuals. There are a lot of individuals. The ethical behavior of each and every individual can be differ. Okay. So when we take this law and ethics, law alone can't restrict human behavior. Law cannot restrict human behavior. Law alone, the law, the rules and the law alone cannot restrict or limit the human behavior. The human behavior. It's impractical, impossible to describe, enforce, and acceptable behaviors. So law cannot alone restrict or limit or avoid the human behavior. But ethics or morals are sufficient self-control for most people. So some of the people attitudes, some of the people behavior, some of the people beliefs cannot be controlled or cannot be restricted by the law. But ethics or the morals of that particular individuals can control their some of the behaviors or some of the attitudes or some of the practices. So when an individual believes or individuals practice some of the ethical practices, and he or she may have the self-control, so he can be the good citizen. He can be the good person in the society. Okay, ethics or morals are sufficient self-control for most people. So these cannot be controlled by the law, but their beliefs or their morals or their ethics can control people to do or to practice some of the good things in the society. Some of the good things in the society. So for example, helping mind. Helping mind is one kind of good things. Helping others or helping mind. Or take part in the social work. Take part in the social work. Take part in the Shramadana. Take part in a public well-being, public welfare. Or some of the contribute for some good things in the society, like to repair a road or to construct a well, the public place, or to construct any public, to modernize or to construct or some public services. So these are some of the good things. And even ethics, their beliefs, like he or she should not be the problem created in the society. This is also one ethics, their beliefs. Not make any harmful things to others. This is one ethics. Do not make any harmful things to others. Should not be a problem created in the society. These all are the ethics. What the idea? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, shall we move into this next?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so far we looked at ethics in the individual and the societal aspect. What are some of the ethical things for an individual? Or we looked at some of the ethical things in the societal aspect, social setup or a societal aspect. Now we are going to study about this ethics in the organizational context. So we call it code of ethics. In the organizational practice or a business practice, there are ethics. There are ethics. We call it code of ethics. So in the organizational context, the ethics, ethics mean what? Set of right things or a set of wrong things. So these are the acceptable things. These are the unacceptable things. So in the organizational context, each and every organization may have their own ethics. Or each and every business enterprise, they may have their own ethics. In a code of ethics, so these ethics are mentioned, or these ethics are declared as a set of document. So documented set of acceptable behaviors for professionals or social groups is called code of ethics. So code of ethics mean in the business setting or a business aspect, it is a documented set of acceptable behaviors for professionals or social groups called code of ethics. It is defined by the group. It is defined by the group. Say, for example, the management, the particular company's management is documenting their company ethics. So later I'm going to show you, I'm going to discuss in the organizational context, what are the acceptable things, what are the unacceptable things. So these ethics are, the code of ethics are defined by the group. So for example, in the business setting or organizational context, the management. So management is not a single person. There are group of people. Management, they can define their own company's ethics. What are the acceptable things? What are the unacceptable things for our organizations? Okay, identifies specific action as appropriate or inappropriate. So in the code of ethics, it declare or it lists specific actions that are acceptable, and there are certain things that are inappropriate. So in the code of ethics, they are listing or they are declaring or they are identifying these are the acceptable things or these are the appropriate things, and these are the inappropriate or unacceptable things. So for example, for your understanding here, sample code of ethics, as I mentioned earlier, each and every business organization has their own code of ethics. So for example, for a business organization, so the employees should behave like this, their attitudes like this. So they have to practice the acceptable things inside the organization, this and this. And they have to behave like this. They have to collaborate with other colleagues or other employees like this. They have to work in a proper way. They have to respect others. They have to they cannot misuse the organizational properties. So these are some of the code of ethics. At the same time, they may declare or they may identify some of the unethical behaviors inside the organization or inappropriate things inside the organization, like they cannot fight with other employees. They have to respect other employees, and they should not make any harmful things to these organizations. They cannot earn some other additional income from the organizations. They cannot damage the organization's resources. So these are some of the unacceptable things for the employees. So for each and every organization has their own code of ethics. Here, the Academy of Management is one of the international organizations for a publication purpose. So here, this company has its own code of ethics. Now I'm going to show you this code of ethics, and let me share this slide first, so then you can easily understand. Yes. Can you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is here. This is the website. You see the Academy of Management. Let me annotate. Yeah. Here you see the company name. Academy of Management, and Academy of Management Ethics. The Academy of Management and its members hold, as I mentioned earlier, ethics are defined by the group of people. The Academy of Management and its members hold ethics in high regard. There are many resources available to provide a foundation of guidance through our code, education, and reference materials on topic within ethics. The Academy of Management Code of Ethics contain broad societal aspirations and guidelines for professional activities, but also contain ethical standards. The ethical standards of the Code of Ethics are enforceable within the context of Academy of Management activities, such as publishing in academic journals, participating in placement, or submitting a paper to the annual meeting. The code applies to academic officers and the members and non-members participating in the academic activities. So they have mentioned what are expected from their code of ethics. And actually, this Academy of Journalists is one of the international institutions, and they are publishing or they are conducting research conferences all over the world, and they have members, various kind of members, and their members has to practice some of the ethical things which is already declared by this Academy of Journal, and practical application, ethical resources. And here you see, as I mentioned earlier, so since they are publishing publications, since they are involving in the publications, they have some ethical aspect on the following areas, like authorship. For the publication, author, he is the one who is responsible, or who is the particular article belongs to this person. Authorship, plagiarism, publishing in journal, conference paper and presentations, slicing the data in publication, reporting research, reviewing manuscript, global ethics in pub. So these are some of the areas they are defining, or they are declaring, or they are identifying their ethics for this Academy of Journal. Okay. So likewise, for each and every business organization, can you able to see my screen?
No, sir.
Now? Now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. For each and every business organization, they may have their own code of ethics. Code of ethics, like as I mentioned here, the Academic Journal, Academic Management, there are various institutions, business organizations, they have their own set of code of ethics. Got the idea?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt? Any problems? Simply you can define this code of ethics. Code of ethics is a set of rules and regulation which govern or which describe what are the acceptable things and what are the unacceptable things inside the organization. Called code of ethics. Some of the good things and some of the bad things can be practiced inside the organization. It's called code of ethics. Okay. Shall we move to this next slide?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now we are going to discuss about what is workplace ethics. The same, the code of ethics. What are the workplace ethics? So similar to this code of ethics, the workplace ethics mean in the working environment or the business, this office environment, what are the ethics? What are the ethics? So workplace ethics are the set of values, morals, principles, and standard that need to be followed by both employers and employees in the workplace. When we take an office setup or the working environment, so there are a set of values, because it is a kind of a business organization. They may have their own values, and the employees are there, they have own values. There are working people, they are belongs to different culture, different religion, different faith, and moral principles, and some standard. So the particular business organization may have their own standard. So that need to be followed by both employers and employees. These values, morals, and standards should be followed or practiced by the employers. Employers mean who? The company, people. Employers, or employee mean the person who is providing job opportunity. The person who is providing job opportunities. Employers and employees. People, those who are working in the organizations, employees in the workplace. So the workplace ethics mean set of values, moral principles, and standard that needs to be followed by the employers and employees in the workplace. It is the set of rules and regulations that need to be followed by all staff of the workplace. So basically, workplace ethics mean set of rules and regulations. Set of rules and regulations that needs to be followed by all the staff members in that particular office or a company or a business organizations. These ethics are implemented by employers to build up both employee-employee relationship and employee-customer relationship. These ethics are implemented by the employers to build up employee-employee relationship. It means in between or among the employee, the good rapport or a relationship. Why they are creating this workplace ethics? Because these rules and regulations should be practiced or practiced by employee and employee relationship to build up a good relationship between employees, and to build up a good relationship between the customers and the employees. So there are number of employees inside the organization, so they have to practice these ethical practices to create the good rapport or good relationship between them. At the same time, some of our employees deal with our customers, or some of the employees collaborate with our customers. So this the purpose of implementing or the purpose of creating these ethical practices is to build up the good rapport or good relationship between our employees and customers. Good idea. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. An organization may decide to put these ethics into writing, or not they are, however, meant to be followed. If they are not put in writing, so it should be followed. Anyhow, it should be followed. So organization can write, organizations can decide these ethics that needs to be written as a written document. So they may place it in a common place, or they may attach this ethics, some of the ethical details with their appointment letter, or they may place it, they may locate it in some other online resource, online website or any other platform. So whatever the way, they have to declare this ethics for their employees. There exists some general workplace ethics that do not need to be defined by the employees, but a common ethical behaviors employees need to exhibit. It means organization does not want to reveal or declare all the ethics, but there are some common practices or common ethical practices. These should be followed by, or these should be exercised by our employees. So later in the next slide, I'm going to show you some of the ethical and unethical behaviors, so that time you can understand. So they don't want to mention, or they don't want to, the organization do not want to mention it or do not want to declare it, but employees has to realize it. And these are some of the good practices. These are some of the unethical practices. we have to do the good practices, and we have to away from these unethical practices. So they can understand, or they have to easily identify some of the good things and some of the bad things. Some organization specific ethics may need to be defined in a company handbook. So this is also possible. So some organizations are including or they are defining their particular organization's ethics in their handbook or their official documents, or with the appointment letter, or they can hang it in a common place, like they can locate it in the website. So whatever the possible way, they have to include the good practices and some of the unethical practices in some places. What the idea? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Shall we move to next slide?
Okay, sir.
Okay, now example of ethical and unethical behaviors in the workplace. Now we are going to discuss about what are the ethical and what are the unethical behaviors in the workplace. My first column, this table's first column list some of the ethical behaviors, and the second column list some of the unethical workplace behaviors. Can you please tell some of the possible ethical acceptable things and some of the unacceptable things, ethical or unethical things for an organizations? Hello? Can you please tell me? What are the possible ethical things and what are the unethical things for an organizations?
Ethical behavior is obeying the company rules.
Okay, great. Obeying the company's rules and regulations, great. What else?
Taking responsibility.
Sorry?
Taking responsibility.
Yeah, taking responsibility, great. Taking responsibility, great. That is also the ethical behavior.
Effective communication.
Sorry?
Effective communication.
Effective communications, okay, great.
Spread the organization advantages.
spread positively about this organization. Is that so? Okay.
Corporate social responsibility.
Corporate social responsibility. Okay, great. What does it mean? Corporate social responsibility mean what? Okay, any other idea? Any other idea?
Taking care of employees.
Taking care of employees. Okay, great.
Respect each other.
Exactly, respect each other. That is also good practices like ethics. Great. Any other?
Appropriate and acceptable behavior.
Appropriate and acceptable behaviors inside the organization. Okay, great. Okay, tell about some of the unethical things inside the organization, some of the unethical behaviors inside the organization. So far, you have listed the ethical practices. Now, tell about some of the unethical things inside the organization.
Theft of time and materials.
Exactly, theft of time and materials.
Misuse company technologies.
Misusing company technology and company resources. Okay, great.
Lying about performance.
Yeah, they may lying about their performance or their duties or assigned tasks. Okay.
Taking credits for others' hard work.
Exactly, taking credit for others' hard work. I think you are referring the website. Am I correct? Are you referring the website?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. I also referred. That is why I'm telling. Okay. Okay. Any other? Any other? Okay. So now we are going to discuss about some of the ethical and some of the unethical behaviors in the workplace. Okay. So first we will discuss about ethical behaviors. First is obey the company rules and regulations. This is the first one. Obeying the company rules and regulations. So each and every company, they have their own rules and regulations. So employees has to obey the company rules and regulations regarding the rules and regulations regarding their departure, their arrivals, their lunchtime, their break times, and the working environments like the assigned tasks and deadlines, and the salaries and payments, and employees welfare. So there are various aspects. The particular company, they may have their own rules and regulations. So first thing is obeying the company rules and regulation is the ethical behavior. The second one is professionalism, standard. In the working environment, working place, they have the professor. They have their own professionalism, the way of doing things, and they are looking some smartness. They are looking some standard in their work. So professionalisms. Professionally, they have to work. There is no theft, or there is no stealing activities. Professional working culture. They have a standard. So that is also the second ethical behavior. Develop professional relationship, like employees has to work with other colleagues, other co-workers, or other staff and superiors like supervisors, managers, and top management. Even sometimes they have to work with some minor employees and some other outsiders. So develop a professional relationship, like they are representing the particular organizations, and they should not make any harmful thing to this particular organization's image. They should not make any damage for this particular organization's well-being or its image or its professionalisms. So develop professional relationship, and also they have to work in a professionally. They have to work like professionally work with their colleagues, staff, co-workers, managers, some other outsiders like service providers, vendors, suppliers, customers, employees, so on. Work smarter. Work smarter since the assigned task should be fulfilled within appropriate time, and they have to meet their achievement with a deadline, less number of leaves, and if they want to take the leave properly, make arrangements, or in advance they have to replace someone to his or her place, and work in a proper manner. So work smarter, and no cut or no stealing activities in his work, and some of the smart things in the his or her work. Communicate effectively. So they have to collaborate and communicate with various people. So communicate effectively. That is also one ethical behavior. Be accountable and take responsibilities. So employees are assigned for work. So employees are assigned some activities. So they have to take the responsibility, and he or she must be accountable. So if there is any what do you call this failures, or if there is any mistake in the work, he or she must accept it, take the responsibility and accountability. And this has the this accountability and responsibility is one good things, or one right for a leader. So then only he or she must he or she can develop the leadership style or leadership qualities. So accountable and responsibility. Respect your colleagues. So as I mentioned earlier, we have to respect, and then only you can get the respect from others. Your colleagues, your co-workers, your staff. You have to respect each and every people inside the organization. Then only you can get the respect from them. So these are some of the ethical behaviors. Now we are going to discuss about unethical behaviors. So telling lies, not honest to other people, other employees or subordinate or other co-workers, telling lies, some forgeries, doing some forgeries, and stealing some of the things. So these are unethical behaviors. Taking credit for others' hard work. So let's take a teamwork. So there are members in the team. So he or she take the credit for others' hard work. Someone did the whole job, or someone contributed to complete the assignment or activity. He or she is getting the credit from the managers or he or she getting the credit for from the supervisors. So taking credit for others' hard work. Verbal harassment, abuse, sexual harassment. So these are some of the unethical things inside the organizations. So talking in a different way and harassment talk and some of the abuse and some of the harassment inside the organization with their colleagues, with their mine employees, with their top management. So some of the verbal harassments or some other harassments, violences, fight with employees, doing some mental activities and making some of the damages to organizational resources. So some of the violences. Non-office related work and extended break. So during the working hour, he or she can do his personal work, preparing some personal document and doing some other personal task inside the organizations, non-office related work and extended break. So in the organization, there are reserved time for the coffee and refreshment or lunch or prayer or some other activities. There are time intervals. During the time interval, they may go for some other personal work like going for bank or going home or going interview or some other personal work employees are doing. And if the time is allocated for 1 hour for lunch, they are extending for 1.5 hours or 2 hours. It means what? They are stealing their working hours. So extended break. Corrupt practices, corruption in their work, like corrupting organizational project or some other secret documents or company data or employees data. So corruptions or bribery related activities, theft or misuse. Some of the corruption and some of the stealing activities inside the organization, misuse like stealing organizational data, customer data, company transaction, business secret, and misusing organizational and network resources, various aspects. So now you can see some of the ethical behaviors and some of the unethical behaviors in the workplace. Got the idea? Have you got the idea? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay. So far we looked at the organizational context, ethical and unethical behaviors. Now we are going to discuss about some real world IT ethical dilemmas. So IT related ethical dilemmas, some of the confusions in the working environment. Using system to increase efficiency and causing layoff and personal hardships. So you see IT ethical dilemmas. So you see nowadays IT systems and IT applications are used to increase the efficiency. Used to increase the of efficiency. And while layoffs and personal hardships, like you see, due to this IT systems and IT applications, many employees are losing their jobs. Using system to monitor employee emails to protect valuable assets, but decreasing employee privacy. In a sense, in the organizational setting, employers are using some of the advanced systems to monitor employee emails, to whom they are communicating, what are the emails they are receiving, what are the emails our employees are sending to outsiders, what sort of email they are getting, what sort of attachment they are getting with the email. So to monitor all these email communications, the employer can use advanced system to monitor employees' email communication. to protect the valuable assets inside the organization, but it decreases the employee privacy. What will do it? It will decrease the employees' privacy. When they are monitoring our employees' email communications, the employees are losing their privacy. So they may have some private contact, private emails, private attachments, so private communications. So employees are losing their privacy. Monitoring employee use of the internet at work, increasing employee privacy. Sometimes employees can be monitored by using internet and some other technology like a CCTV camera or some other advanced technologies, sensor devices or some other devices. It can decrease the employee privacy. It can decrease the employee privacy. So the employees' arrival, departure times are monitored, and employees' movements are monitored. Employees' behaviors are monitored. So ultimately, the employees will lose their privacy. Using huge databases to aggregate consumer informations, reducing the cost of granting credit, but increasing the chance of losing personal data to criminals, terrorists, or some others. So some banking organizations or finance institutions, they are aggregating consumer informations. The customer information they are accumulating or aggregating. So the purpose of doing this to finalize or to identify the possible customers to grant loan or to give some financial support, but it will increase the chance of losing personal data to criminals, terrorists, or other hackers or crackers. So when these finance institutions accumulating or aggregating this personal information about their customers or consumers, sometime if it is revealed to outsiders or if hackers hack these informations, the customers will be in trouble. So the personal data of these customers can be used by outsiders or some other hackers or crackers. So it will be a threat for our customers. So they will steal the personal information about our customers, like their bank account details, bank account number, bank balance, home address, their mobile number, email address, and their some of the personal informations can be revealed to credit card details, can be revealed to outsiders. So they'll be in trouble. Okay. So these are some of the real world IT ethical dilemmas, confusions, and when the business organizations are declaring or listing this ethics, there are some specific ethical cautions. So no one should enter or use another's computer system, software, or data files without permissions. So this is the ethical concern. This is an ethical concern because the employees can have their own personal data, or they may have their applications. They are working for the office. They can perform some office tasks. It's in its middle stage. It is not completed. So there are various problems with the system. So no one should enter or use another's computer system or software or data files without permissions. So no employee should not be allowed to use other employees' system, computer system or software or data files without permission. So this is one ethical behavior. So sometimes he or she can have some other personal document, personal informations, and the particular company's personal data, he or she can working with the company particular customer data or some secret information. So it is advisable not to use others' computers or software or data files without the proper permissions. If the permission is granted, he or she can use it. Until you get the permissions, it is not advisable to use others' system, software, or data files. Designing or implementing system that purposely or accidentally degrade individuals or groups is ethically unacceptable. So designing or implementing a system, or developing or implementing a system that purposely or accidentally degrade individuals or groups is ethically unacceptable. So degrading means down. So sometimes their image or sometimes their credibility, so can be degraded. Some groups, I mean the team or some group set of people's image or their profile can be degraded. So should not design or implement a system that purposely or accidentally. It should not be purposefully or accidentally degrade individuals or groups. Also ethically not acceptable. Organization leaders are responsible for ensuring that computer systems not degrade the quality of working life. The managers or organization leaders must aware and they have to be responsible. Their computer systems are not degrading the quality of working life. So the system is properly working. They are not monitoring. They are not monitoring. They do not have the hidden cameras. They do not have the hidden system to degrade or to observe or to monitor the employees. So organization leaders are responsible for ensuring that the computer systems not degrade the quality of working life. So these are some of the organizational ethical cautions can be considered, ethical concern that must be considered in a working environment, workplace. So what are the benefits? What are the advantages of these ethical codes, ethical practices, ethical concern?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sometimes company ethics may put consumer details in risk, no? Then is there any procedure if something happen like that because of the company ethics?
Okay, what is your question? So companies are consumers?
Sometimes company ethics may put consumer details in risk.
Company ethics can put consumers' data in risk.
Yes, sir.
How? Consumer data mean the customer data.
Yeah, customer
Okay.
data.
Oh, customer data. Okay, customer data.
In risk.
Risk mean how?
Because they are collecting bank details like that, likewise.
Yeah, personal data or some other customers' informations they are collecting.
Yes. Then if someone hackers take that details among the company through the company,
Okay.
if there are any progress for that, because it is one of the ethic company have to collect that.
Yeah.
If something happen like that, is there any progress for that, sir?
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes you see when especially in e-commerce site or some other website, organizations are collecting the various personal information from the customers. So in a way, they may ask to create a account for this customer. So the customers are also feeding some information and they are creating account. So from that account, the companies are collecting various personal information from the customers, and they are keeping this data information in their server or some other databases. And there are possibilities to this data and information can be revealed or can be stolen by others, outsiders. So to avoid these kind of circumstances, companies can have a mechanism to control for their data security. They may have their own setup, so mechanism to safeguard their data and security, like firewalls or interrupts and direction systems, or some other advanced security protocols inside the organizations to protect their network infrastructure, to protect their servers and databases. They may have different security practices, and the access control, like when the data is stored in the databases, some of the employees are given the privileges, access privileges, so they can access some of the data only, some area of data, some portion of the data, and the customers, some remaining data cannot be accessed. So access privileges, and this when the employees are accessing these databases, they are monitored. What sort of data this particular employee is dealing, what sort of data this particular employee is getting, whether he is altering or whether he is copying, whether he is sending to anyone else. Everything should be monitored, and they can implement some sort of security procedures or tight control for the customer's data and information. In worst case, if any employee steal or sell this customers' data information to outsiders, if it is proved or if it is confirmed, he must be punished. There are laws and there are legal actions. He must be punished in a way. He can be terminated, or he can be degraded in his promotions, in his positions. So they may have several steps to control these particular actions. In a worst case, if the hackers are hacking companies' data, the secret data or confidential data, so they can file a case in the court. If it is proved and if it is confirmed, they can file a case against that particular person or particular any other hacking companies, and they can claim. Good idea.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So what are the advantages of ethical codes? So the advantage of ethical code mean, so it adds the clarity to the understanding of acceptable standard of behavior. So it tells or it declares what are the acceptable standard of what are the acceptable things for this particular organization, what are the unacceptable or unethical things for this organizations. So advantages of ethical codes: communicate common guidelines for every to follow. So the ethical codes are communicating or declaring the common guidelines for the individuals, employees or managers or other individuals inside the organization to be practiced. So it's common for everyone. Communicate common guidelines for every to follow. What happens if you don't follow the organization ethical code? What will happen? If particular employee or if anyone is not following the organization ethical code, what will happen? If the employee not following organizational code of ethics, what will happen to him? Assume yourself. What happens if you don't follow your organization ethical code? if I simplify, if you don't follow the organization rules and regulation, what will happen for you? What will happen? If you don't follow the organization rules and regulation, what will happen? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
If you don't follow the organization ethical code, what will happen? What will you face?
Employee may lose their
Employee loss.
jobs.
Sorry?
Employee may lose their jobs.
Yeah, definitely. They may lose their job. Employees may lose their job. They may terminated from the job. There are possibilities. What will happen? What else will happen? Can she or he perform well in his job?
No, sir.
No, he can't perform well in his job. Will he respected by other colleagues or
No.
co-workers or co-staff?
No.
No. Okay. What else happen? What will happen? What else happen?
Sometimes decline their duties.
Yeah, declining from the duties. Will he or she respected by the management or a manager? Will he or she respected by the management?
No, sir.
Promoted by the management?
No, sir.
So
They
they are,
may go to prison.
sorry?
They may go to prison.
Yeah, possibilities are there. They may go to prisons if they do any kind of unwanted activities or stealing or vandal activities inside the organization. They may go to prison as well.
Sometimes they have to pay their salaries or decline in the salaries.
Exactly, they may face some difficulties in getting the salaries or declining the salaries or some penalties. Some penalties may be imposed. They may face some legal actions. There are possibilities. Okay. So now we are going to discuss about key technology trend that tries ethical issues. What are the key technology trend that tries ethical issues? What may be? So now we are moving towards the organizational context. So we looked at this ethics from the individual, from the society aspect, from the business context. Now we are moving towards the organizational context, ethics. What are the key technological trends that tries ethical issues? That created the ethical issues? What are the technological trend or technological aspect that has created the ethical issues for organizations? Any idea? Any idea? Okay. So nowadays the technology is getting more progress, and it is getting advancement, and new technologies are used in the working environment. There are various technological application and technological used in the working environment, and these technologies has the positive impact as well as there are negative consequences also. The changes in technology has have some obvious positive consequences, but also it creates some potentially or actually negative consequences also. So what are the negative consequences? Okay, now we will discuss one by one. Nowadays, you see computing power double every year. When we compare to the traditional organizational context, nowadays in the modern business setting, organizations or enterprises are using powerful computing resources like the computing power. The processing power is very high. Computing processing power is very high. Supercomputers are there. Various powerful processors are there, and they can process large volume of data within a short period of time. And there are devices or there are servers which can store, which can keep huge amount of data. So in a sense, the computing power is getting advanced. Year by year, it is getting advanced. So dependence on computer system increases, and it becomes more cost effective to process massive amount of personal data. So when we take an enterprise which has global customers and which are involving in this e-commerce side, so they have a huge amount of data from various sources, like they have customer data, they have employee data, they have supply data, they have service providers data, they have their own business transaction, they have a banking transaction related data, they have a company data. So huge amount of data, and companies, business enterprises are depending for this computing devices, like a computing infrastructure, IT infrastructure, like servers, high efficient servers, high processing capacity, and various advanced technologies. So these are giving this computing power, and these devices are making the dependency for an organization. So they cannot avoid the recent technological improvement in this industry. So they need high powerful and computer systems or IT infrastructure for their business operations. So dependence on computer system increases, and it becomes more cost effective. So to process massive amount of personal data, to handle, to manage, to process massive amount of huge amount of data, enterprises are highly depending on this computing power and the sophisticated devices. So the dependency may create some ethical issues. It can create some ethical issues, like they have a huge amount of customer data. This customer data can be sold to outsiders, or this data can be, customer data can be hacked by hackers or crackers, and it will create some ethical issues for customers. It will create some ethical issues for the enterprise. So the first one is computing power double every year. So when the computing power is increases, companies are also highly depending on this technology, on these devices. Okay. Rapidly declining data storage cost. Compared to traditional business organizations, nowadays, the companies are having huge amount of data, and they are looking for the storage devices or databases which can store massive amount of data, and they are looking for some backup servers, backup storage places. So they are looking for some powerful and efficient storage devices. So rapidly declining data storage cost. The previous days, if they want to buy a server or a database, they want to spend huge amount of money. But in today's modern business setting and the advanced industry, so they can hire or they can get this sophisticated and high capacity storage databases or servers in a lower cost. So rapidly declining data storage cost lowers the cost of creating huge national databases composed of private information, lowers the cost of storing and using data. So in a sense, they may use databases. They may use databases to store their branch office informations, their regional office informations. They can integrate these databases with their headquarters. So when the companies are running business operations in global marketplaces, they can integrate all these databases with their what do you call this, a central system, and these databases can have a huge amount of data. So this is also possibly can be misused or can be damaged by our internal employees, as well as can be hacked by outsiders, hackers or crackers or some other people can damage this data. So rapidly declining data storage cost, and it will create some ethical issues for an organizations. The company data can be stolen, company business transaction can be stolen or altered, some financial related information can be stolen, and various kind of ethical issues. Data mining advances. It increases the ability of a firm and government to track the movement of citizens throughout life. Data mining means, so nowadays you see the employees, the citizens of data are stored, like from his birth to from his death, all the informations, his birth related information, parents related informations, and his marriage related informations, his foreign travel related informations, his passport, and death, all kind of information are stored. And by using advanced data mining technologies and algorithms, so firm and government can track the movement of citizen. So where he is going, where he is doing the business, what is his transactions, and to whom he is having the contact, to whom he is transferring the money, to whom he is doing the business. All these kind of activities can be monitored and observed by using this data mining and some other advanced technologies. And this is also can be, this is also possibly create some ethical issues for an individual as well as organization. Networking advances in the internet, remotely accessing personal data. So nowadays you see the advanced networking technologies, which can connect various network, and organizations can create a different type of network, LAN connection, WAN connections, and Wi-Fi networks, some remote networks, some to organize, to monitor, to conduct their business operation. They may have several type of networks. These can be connected with each other, and the company data, company secret information can be accessed by the employees from the remote locations. And there are possibilities the employees or hackers can steal this data and information. They can alter the data, they can damage the data, they can do any kind of mental activities. So these are the some of the possible ways, some of the key technological trend that can create the ethical issues for organization as well as individuals. Good idea. The first one is computing power doubles every year. Second one is rapidly declining data storage capacity. So companies are moving towards cheapest and lowest databases and some other powerful capacity of databases, data mining, advancement in the data mining, and network advances in the internet technologies. Good idea.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, next we are going to discuss about ethical issues in information technology. What are the ethical issues in information technology? So ethical issues mean, so far we looked at the ethics in the individuals, societal, in the business context, and the key technological trend that are creating the ethical issues. Now we are going to discuss about some of the ethical issues in IT. So these are some of the ethical issues in IT. Personal privacy, the individual's privacy. Due to this information technology devices and use of information technology, nowadays the individuals are vulnerable for their privacy. So personal information about their about the customers or individuals, personal information are vulnerable. So there are privacy issues for their personal information, like it can be hacked or it can be stolen. So their personal privacy information can be stolen by others. Serious issues. Misuse of personal information. So when hackers or crackers or some others take this personal information, they may misuse it. They can sell it to outsiders, or they can copy and alter these personal informations. They can threat by using these personal informations. They can give this personal information to others to threat us. Various issues. Misinformation and deep fake. It means in the nowadays people are using social platform and social media and website. There the informations are misused. The false information is spread, and they are sharing the news, fake news. They are using the videos, the fake videos, fake news, fake IDs. So misusing the informations. These are also possible because IT is behind this social media and social networking site and some other online platforms. Access right. So for an organization, business organization, the databases, it has access privileges. Set of people are allowed to access the data and informations, and this access right can be misused. So by using this access right, employees can access the unauthorized data informations. So it is not actually authorized, but anyhow, they can misuse and they can, by using this access right, they can misuse the data. Cybercrime. So by using IT, people and employees are committing some of the crimes, cyber crimes, like credit card related fraud, and some of the threat to the, by using technology attack, hacking activity, they are threatening. So damaging the company resources, damaging what you call this network resources, sending virus files, and damaging the network. So damaging servers, so collapsing organizational website. So these are some of the cyber criminal activities. Harmful actions. So as I mentioned earlier, so harmful action like actions like damaging, so changing the organizational logos and organizational mottos in the website, and stealing data, and damaging their network resources, sending virus file, sending virus attachments, various harmful actions. Ransom and ransomware. So these days, the hackers or the ransom people or ransomware penetrate into the systems or penetrate into the computers and hacking, or take the control of this laptop or systems. Like they are creating virus files, or they are blocking all the files available in the computer or systems and asking the ransom amount, ransom from the owner to release the files. So this is very much dangerous in these days. The hackers are sending virus file and blocking the entire system and asking certain amount, the ransom, to release from their control. So various kind of ransomware they can send. This ransomware can be sent as a email attachment, or the ransomware can be sent as a the user is downloading some softwares and installing, the ransomware can be active. So various ways are there, different ways are there to activate this ransomware. Misuse of intellectual property. So you may aware about this intellectual property like a patent, copyright, trade secret, and some other trademark, the intellectual property, and misuse of this intellectual property by using information technology, like stealing this patent, stealing copyrights, sell it to outsiders, revealing this secret information to outsiders, transferring documents to outsiders. So these are some of the misuse of intellectual properties. Piracy. It is not privacy, it is piracy. Piracy means you might heard about the commercial version of the software. So piracy means creation of illegal copy of the software. Like the commercial version of the software, it has the price, so it has the initial cost for that software. And what hackers and some other harmful people doing is they are copying illegal copies. They are making number of copies as illegal copies, and they are distributing this to outsiders. So commercial version of the software, the one company is the owner for that particular commercial version of the software, but the hackers and some other developers, they are creating illegal copies and they are selling to sell it to outside other organizations. So this is also kind of ethical issue created by information technology. What the idea?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Risk associated with IT. Risk associated with IT. In the next lecture, we are going to discuss. So now I'm going to wind up this today's session by this level, and we will continue the remaining aspect in the future sessions. Okay. Anything do you want to clarify?
No, sir.